Okie dokie. Let me know when you guys are all loaded in. Okay. So I'm sure we're all sort of familiar with SolidWorks and how SolidWorks works, I guess. So just a brief sort of comparison between just some of the features in SolidWorks and how they compare to the NX feature set. Obviously on the side you have your feature tree, so all your features will come up in the side here. You have your sort of datums, so like if you need to make a plane or an axis or a coordinate system, that's all there. 2D sketching is the exact same as NX. Extrude is extrude. The one thing that's different than SolidWorks is if you want to, I'll show later. So in SolidWorks, there's the extrude command, which like makes a physical thing, and then there's the extruded cut command, which cuts a hole into a thing. In NX, it's the same feature, but you choose what Boolean you want to operate on it. So to do just a normal extrude, it'll be an extrude with the Boolean none, so it'll just create a new body. If you're extruding something and you want it to sort of merge with the other body that you're extruding into, like SolidWorks does automatically, that'd be unite. And then an extruded cut in SolidWorks is a subtract in NX. And then, so yeah, that's sort of just the basic sort of difference between the two. In SolidWorks, fillets are called fillets. In NX, fillets are called face blends. And then there's sort of all these other features in the top. Now, as one thing to note is your menu probably looks different than my menu a little bit. This is because if you hit any of these little triangles at the bottom, it opens up a menu of a bunch of different features that are part of that group. And I still even don't have some that are open. You can go deep into the sub-menus on everything. So if you're ever looking for a feature, definitely use the search command. And then you can, if I go to search, move, and enter that guy. And go like commands. It'll come up with all those things and it'll sort of tell me where it's at. But there's a way in here where you can get it to show you where that command is. This is a little different than what I'm used to even. So, but if you ever need to find a command, definitely search it. It's probably just hiding in one of those menus. But also there's, at the very side of your screen here, there's this other triangle, this like ribbon thing. And here there's a few other sort of things that are hidden as well. On that note, sorry, Rowan. What's an arrow design group? Where do you see that? Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of the main home tab, I guess. The next is the curve tab, which everyone should have. So another parallel between NX and SolidWorks is the 3D sketch tool in SolidWorks. I'm sure we're all used to that. And so in SolidWorks, you can create a 3D sketch and you can dimension your sketch in X, Y, Z dimension in a single sketch in that file. Unfortunately, but fortunately, depending on how you look at it, NX does not have a 3D sketching tool. It has this curve tab, which allows you to make lines, points, etc. in 3D space. So we'll go over either later in tonight's session or in another one, we'll go over making that. But essentially, instead of having your one sketch feature where you're dimensioning in XYZ, in NX, you have to set up datum planes. So different planes where you have things sort of positioned and then do your lines from those points to points sort of thing. So yeah, the curve section is essentially your sort of 3D sketch in SolidWorks. And just again, each of the things has a little drop-down menu of more features, and also at the end, there's a bunch of other features. Surface is going to be one for all of the arrow members. Essentially, surface modeling, it's a whole thing in itself. We'll have a whole night going over the basics of surface modeling. We won't get into too much of this tonight. But again, make sure you look through all the things. How's everyone doing so far? Good? Good? Sweet. Okay. So the next one is the Assemblies tab. So again, I guess we're sort of just going over the parallels of NX to SolidWorks. But in SolidWorks, you have your part files, and then you have your assembly files. And those are two different file types, right? In NX, and I guess drawings and SolidWorks are also a different file type. In NX, all of the, for a single part, you can have an assembly, a part, and a drawing all associated to that same file per se. So I can model something, and then I can go and I can add components to that model and keep modeling and stuff. And then I can go and I can go to the application, I can go and I can start drafting from it. Yes, Rowan? Did you go over an assembly or something? Yeah, we can go over that. But this is another file structure thing that we'll go over, where our part files, there'll be a part file for like the single part, and there will be a separate part file for an assembly. We won't actually do the thing where you have a model and an assembly in the same thing. We'll separate that out. And even when we go to a drawing, what we'll do is we'll have our part file, and I can go through this later. We'll have our part file, and we'll create an assembly file per se. Well, no, sorry, don't listen to that. Yeah, here. So let me just do something real quick. I want to sketch. So yeah, if you guys want to follow along on this, so let's do like a sketch on the right plane. Let me know when you guys are all good to go in your sketch. Okay, so just to go over these features sort of thing, a profile is you can do a bunch of different lines all in a row, and then you have to go back and dimension them. A line is just going to be a single line from point to point, and you can't do anything after it. So yeah, profile, you can chain them all together. Line is just a single thing. So I'm just going to do a simple rectangle. And so in NX, there is there's the wrap dimension button, which you can use to dimension certain things. However, you don't actually need to press the dimension button to dimension something. You can simply just click the line and then click it again, and we'll make that 5 inches per se. I guess another thing to note is in SolidWorks to multi-select things, so to select more than one thing, you do control click sort of thing. In NX, you simply just click and then click another thing. And you can keep clicking as many things as you want, and it'll multi-select them all until you hit escape. So I'm just gonna make this 9 by 6, or 5 by 6, we'll say. And then we'll finish that sketch. And we'll go to extrude it, and we'll select that curve there. What chat? Sick. Okay. So yeah, so we're in the thing, and automatically the Boolean is set to inferred. So since there's nothing, it's just guessing that we want to do a new body. So yeah, here there's options. So for your limits, there's obviously you can change your limits. So if you want to start it at a certain point, you can start it at that. You can offset it from a certain plane, or you can make it symmetric. I'm going to do symmetric just to please my OCD a little bit. And then you still have the options like drafting, so angling in your extrude as it goes out, and things. So once you have your sort of rectangle ready to go, there's at the bottom of all the menus in NX, there's either OK or apply. What apply does is it does the command, so it'll do the extrude for you, but it'll keep the menu open if you need to do another line or another extrude per se. OK, which I'll click, does it, and then closes the menu. So next what I'll do is I'll do another sketch, and so in NX you can choose the face that you want to sketch on like you would in SolidWorks. However, sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I have a question. So when you're choosing the face,
yeah.
If you go, so first, go inside, so on that face, there's a coordinate system on the top left of that, okay, so you can move that around, move that.
So essentially, so I'm not actually going to make this sketch on this plane or on this face, but you can move that around, and that sets the like local coordinate system for that sketch. So it's saying that this is going to be your origin for the sketch, and this is where like you can start your dimensions off of. It'll be your sort of XY coordinate system.
Yeah, in an X, you can set, like there's the origin, which has like your X, Y, and Z. You can also set, it's called like a CYSW or something like that, which is another origin, but you can place it wherever you want. You can place as many zones as you want. So let's say you need an origin that's like lined up weird somewhere, you can put a 3-axis origin anywhere on your part.
Yeah.
So in some ways that's actually in SolidWorks. In SolidWorks, you can't choose what you need to do, but you have dimensions to the part that you have. But it's here,
Yeah.
dimension to that new origin, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
make new origins all over the place.
Yeah. So.
Potentially have less dimensions at the same time.
So the thing with NX is using the datums and using that reference geometry to create your datums and working off of those. So does everyone have their rectangle? Yeah, okay. So what we'll actually do, the way that I model this right now is I just extruded this off of the sort of global coordinate system of the park. This like coordinate system 0. This is all fine and dandy, and this is how we used to do it in SolidWorks. However, what we can do is we can instead, in the drop-down menu for the datum plane, we can create a datum coordinate system. And that'll have this menu pop up. And so it's referencing right now the world coordinate system. And you can change that to display part, whatever. Usually I just leave it to be whatever it is. But there's a few different options on how you define that coordinate system. Right now it's dynamic, so I can just move this coordinate system around wherever I want. But there's also like picking an x-axis, y-axis, and an origin, 3 planes, etc. So I'm actually just gonna exit that, redo it. Okay. So I want to do offset coordinate system. So let's just offset this 3 by 3 by 3. So I'll offset, that's offsetting that coordinate system from the world coordinate system there. And then you can also apply rotation, but I won't worry about that right now. So now we can all see that there's this new coordinate system, which I just made, and this existing one here. So also in NX, you can drag your things up and down the tree. So I just moved that coordinate system up above the sketch. Now, does everyone have their coordinate system made at some offset? Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now what we'll do is we go to the tree and we right click sketch. Oh, where is it? Oh, I might have goofed myself. Don't do this yet. The change sketch support button. Okay, my thing isn't here. What the heck? Did they get rid of it? They might have gotten rid of it. Okay, anywho. So yeah, I guess for context, what I was trying to do there is I was trying to change the plane that this sketch is on from that plane to our new coordinate system, but I can't find the feature. This version of NX is different than the one that I was using. Before, so it's a little funky. That's okay. Anywho, we'll just keep going. So if I would have set up this model properly, what I would have done is I would have made my coordinate system first, and I would have done my sketch on that coordinate system. Because essentially what that allows you to do is you can then go in and edit your coordinate system to move it around the part, sort of thing. So when things are in the master assembly, I think our overall master assembly origin is going to be the lowest point on the chassis. And so essentially by using these datums, we can, instead of using mates to move things around and have stuff floating in space, we can use coordinate systems and move the parts using the coordinate systems and sort of model everything in place. So yeah, in an ideal world, we would have done this sketch on this datum and we could have moved it around, but that's okay. So what we'll do next is we'll do another sketch on that right plane. And we'll do a circle, just at some arbitrary position for now. And what we can do is if you highlight the edge of the circle, don't click, there's a dot that shows up in the middle, and that's the center of your circle. And what you can do is it allows you to reference the other lines of that other sketch that we made. So we can do this. We'll do it 3 inches from that side, and we'll do it 4 inches from the top. No, 3.5 inches from the top. And now, I really hate these main controls. So when you're working in an assembly and you need to reference, if like you're modeling in plane and you need to reference something, you can either use the include button, which includes and projects other options into this sketch, and it creates a reference line. So you can see here, it's sort of hard to see, but these two lines that I use to dimension, they come up as blue, like dotted lines, as like a reference line. So doing include makes those reference lines. The project curve button projects like a solid actual line, not a reference one. But then we'll do we'll do a 2-inch diameter by just clicking that, and we'll finish that sketch. Everyone have their circle? Sick. Okay, so now we'll do an extrude, and what we'll do this, so it automatically started doing a subtract for me. But what we'll do is we'll change our start limit. We'll do the until selected, and we'll select that face. And then we'll change in the direction. We'll just reverse direction for the vector, and then we can shallow this up to like 3 inches. And so you can see we now have a subtracted hole in our assembly, sort of thing. Or in our part, I should say. Rowan.
I would say just for like style, I personally find that instead of offsetting on either side so that the part doesn't break when you change that length, if you go to until face, that's for like style, it's a lot, it makes it cleaner part. Yeah. Or you can do until max. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like until max, or until the base. So then when you change dimensions, it doesn't explode.
Let's,
Just like for the people who maybe aren't super comfortable with that.
are you saying that this is going to explode?
No, I'm just saying like when they are making actual parts.
Oh, yeah.
Try and do till base.
Yeah, it's always best to reference something, whether that, and ideally you're referencing not a face on the model, but you're referencing a datum plane or something, some reference feature sort of thing.
If you reference the model,
Sometimes you can still break it. Okay, so we have our lovely hole in there. So I'll just do a quick save. Or sorry, I guess I should go over this. So if you go File, Save, it's gonna want you to name your part. So I'll do NX Night Square, and then you have to click the little folder guy in the second one, and just put it in whatever folder. Any folder you'd prefer. Oops. Do the folder thing first.
And if you're saving multiple components at the same time, you can just do a click and like a control click to get the whole list to save in the same place as well.
Mm-hmm. So now that that is saved, I'm going to do this two ways. The first way is the way that you guys can do it right now. The second way is the way that we'll end up doing it with the drawing templates for the year. Is the drawing templates skip the step of making this new assembly. So what we'll do is we'll go File, New, and you can just do another model. And then go to the Assemblies tab and go, go Add Component. And let me know when you guys are all here. We all good? Sick. Okay, so this list here is a list of loaded parts on your laptop. So anything that you have open will show up in this menu. If you need to find something that's not in the menu, there's the open button to go to the File Explorer, etc. I'm not going to talk about constraints and stuff yet, just because we'll do that in a different one. But essentially just pick your thing, and automatically it picks the constraint type to be fixed. And usually I just click, when it just automatically does the constraint fix thing, it automatically lines up that original global datum plane, like the 0 datum plane, the like master of the part. So I always just hit apply, and then it'll say, you just add the first component to the assembly. Do you want to create a fixed constraint? Yes, I usually just say. That process might change through the year because, it'll depend if we're actually going through with doing modeling in coordinate system, so having every single part's datum be that one datum, or if we're going to do constraints and stuff. I haven't figured that out yet. But for now, assume you can just do the fixed thing when you insert that. So I hope everyone can, yeah.
So it won't let me get the OK under 5 buttons there yet.
Okay. Let me engineer this real quick. Okay, and so just go down and press select object. I'll show it on the screen. So when you go add component, I can click this guy, right? Well, maybe I can't, 1 second. Let me just pick a thing. There'll be like a select component thing here. Just click that. Yeah, because basically it's just wanting you to select what thing you're like putting the file into. Did that work for everyone? Clicking like the select object thing. Oh, okay, so that did a weird thing. And that did a weird move thing. Yeah, essentially you just get to show up at some point. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. Don't worry too much. As long as you get the part in, it should be good. Anyone else have issues getting that part in? No? Sweet. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll just go file, save, and save that guy again. And call this one NX Night 1 drawing.
You'll notice, unlike SolidWorks, which saves as a solid part or solid assembly or solid drawing, NX, when you save an assembly or a model, it'll still go to the same dot part as like its end file type.
So what we're doing right now is, so we just created this new part file assembly. And if you go on the side here, there's the modeling, the part navigator, which we're in right now, and then there's the assembly navigator. So we just made an assembly with our part in it. And in SolidWorks, there's like all the different configuration stuff that you can do. And you can have different views hidden, this and that. And so essentially we've just made an assembly, and that assembly is going to be our drawing file, so that we can add multiple different versions of this part. If we need like more than one thing in this one drawing, we just add it to this assembly, and then we can do different what's it called? We can do different like configurations basically, or different reference sets for different views in the drawing to have different things show up, as long as they're in that assembly. So once we have our part in, we'll go to the application tab and we'll go hit the drafting button. And so what this will bring you to is this menu. It should for everyone. And for this, we'll just hit OK on the thing. Just close that window at its random things. and then just click in your part wherever, sort of thing. And it'll probably be way too big at the moment. Everyone have their thing in the drawing file? Question mark. Yeah, sweet. Okay. So what you can do, if you go back from the assembly to the part navigator, you can see now you have this drawing thing at the top. And what we can do is on the sheet guy, right click and go edit sheet. And here we can change the size of sheet that we want, as well as the scale and stuff. So I want to go down in scale. So I went to a 1:4 scale, and you can see now my part fits a lot better on that guy. Uh-huh.
What was the click? What was the process you went through the drawing?
The drawing, so go application and then hit the drafting button. Yeah. If I'm going too fast, tell me.
Every time you do that, just invite the phone.
Application.
Okay, go new sheet. Yeah, and then yeah, that's all good. And just close that. And then just click, just click wherever in there, and then just close. And then if you go to that guy, the part navigator, then right click on sheet, and then edit sheet. You can change your scale. You can go down to like 1:2 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll wait a few minutes. Let me know when everyone has their drawing thing ready, I guess. Yeah. So do you have a sheet made? Okay, so what you can do is you can go base view, and then you'll be able to pick, yeah. The scale? Yeah, so in your part navigator, right click on the sheet and go edit sheet, and then you can change the scale there. Yeah.
So I know in SolidWorks you can change the scale of individual drawings in the thing if they're not tied to each other. Can you do that here as well?
Yeah, so under your sheet, there's each individual view, and then you can edit that, and you can change the scale individually there. Ideally, for our drawings, we'll always edit the sheet scale, just because the way that I have the template set up, which I'll show you guys in a bit, it references that scale of the sheet. If you do need to do a different scale for a specific view, you'd have to add a note under that view saying that it's at a different scale. So yeah, I won't go too in depth on the drawing stuff tonight. because I'll try and wrap up here, let everyone go home. But like SolidWorks, all of the features are there like SolidWorks. They're just either in a different place or named a little different. If you need to dimension stuff, rapid dimension, or like the rapid button, is the one to go with. Is you can either do your just normal dimensions like that. And I guess I'll do a projected view really quick. To the side, and I can do the rapid dimension again and do, sometimes it's buggy, so you can, if you're in rapid, you can select down to like radial, and then well, that didn't work, or you can just hit the radial button and select that like that. But yeah, we'll have a NX drawing night one night as well at some point. But so if we were to make, so this is a drawing file and how we'd set up a drawing file for a single part. If we were to do a drawing for an assembly, we would create our assembly of various components, and then we would put that assembly into a drawing file. So like we've done here, where if you go to the assembly navigator, our part is in our part that we made, or our assembly we made is in the tree under this drawing, like assembly file. So yeah, that'd be how you do a drawing for an assembly, but that's again a later thing. So one last thing before we wrap up, I'll show you guys. So you aren't gonna be able to do this, so just watch and follow along sort of thing. And I'll be releasing a tutorial on how to get these templates and everything set up on each of your laptops, but how doing actual drawings for the club this year will happen is, there's these things called palette files. And so this one here with the Motorsport logo is a palette file that I made myself. And so what we can do is you're in your, sorry, I'm just gonna close that part only. So what we can do is, I just want to try this. Essentially, we're in our part file, and I can click that guy, and it is right, and it'll create it creates that assembly file that we just made. So you know how we had our part file, we made a new part file, we added that part that we made originally in it as an assembly. Doing it using the templates, it automatically does that. So here we can see NX Night 1 square drawing 2 or whatever, and you can see our part is already in the tree under that, and then we can just go do a file, save as, and save that part. So it's super convenient. You can just click it, it automatically does that step for us. So that'll be something different from what I just showed you when we actually go to do everything for the whole year. But yeah, in the drawing template, there's all this information down in the corner. So we have all of our tolerances, which we can change if we'd like, the date that the drawing was made, the mass of the part, material of the part number, who made the drawing, the scale, name, et cetera, et cetera. And so these are all things that we'll have to update when we go to make the drawing for our part. So we can go menu, or we go file, properties, and it'll bring up this window. And essentially, for every drawing that we make, you'll have to go through and update the values of this. So you just click one of them. We'll go September 27th, 22, and just hit enter. And hit OK. And then you can see that it didn't update for me there. That's because I have to then go back and update the sheet for those new properties. So if I just right click sheet, update, you can see that that property updated in the table. So yeah, when we actually go to do drawings, it'll look more like this, but that's a later thing. I'm still fine tuning everything, but yeah, it should work a lot better. For reference, in the past to do drawing templates, we've had to have every single person go within like their program files and within the folder of their program file and insert these templates into their SolidWorks folders themselves. It's been a bit more of a pain on my side to do it, but this year all the process will be for you guys. Don't do this yet because I need to test if you can apply the palette and then me update the template and then it update for you guys already, or if you have to reopen that palette file again. But essentially this year, super easy. Everything will just be in the GrabCAD in this NX templates folder. These are all like the master template part files. So I've had to do an individual file for each size of drawing. And essentially there's these palette files, which sort of are code to tell Siemens where stuff is and that it's this type drawing, et cetera, et cetera. But essentially all you guys have to do to get drawing templates this year is just open this, just double click it, and it'll open the palette file in NX for you, and it'll have the templates there for you automatically. So yeah, that's pretty great. But yeah, again, that's a later thing. So yeah, I think that's all I'll go over today because there's a bunch more stuff that everyone has to get used to everything first, and I have to finish sorting out before. But I guess any general questions? Was this helpful? Yeah? Sick. Rowan. Oh, okay, yeah, frick, that was, here, let me open the chassis, because I want to see if it can, I want to see if it'll do it for me. Which one, is it green?
What design process?
It doesn't have to be the latest one.
We'll do.
It can be the latest one.
Is your GrabCAD update?
Probably not. Just pick one.
Sure, let's do this one maybe. This is an older one. Let's see if it works. It does.
Okay. So, what is it going to do it? All right, it's not going to do it, but sometimes when you open a large scale file, like the actual thing is large, sometimes it doesn't always fit in the screen. So to get something, if anything's ever clipping behind, just hit Control F and it automatically fits it and resizes the workspace for your screen. Another one that I like, this one's gonna require me to go through and make a proper quick video on it, but you can assign shortcut keys to all the features that you want, any shortcut key. So the one that I have set up is I have M button set up to go to the measure tool. So that's a helpful one. I can do a quick video on how to set that up, but setting up a shortcut for the measure tool is always a good one. Yeah. Drayton has one.
So I'll just go back to the chassis real quick. You hit Control J on your keyboard. Let's select something first and hit Control J. Hello.
Hit to cancel if you try.
Yeah. Let's just pick this again and it'll go. Come on, there we go. You can choose the color and a bunch of other like visual stuff like really easily for like individual things. So say I want to set it to green, I want the line on it to be like dashed, and I want it to be like a thickum. We can do that, and we'll see now that this component of our assembly is colored. So it's especially like useful in something like the chassis where a lot of these are different size tubes and dimensions and stuff. So I can paint whatever I want really quickly by just mass selecting a bunch of stuff.
Another good one that just came to mind. I guess for reference, over the summer, I was at Multi. I used NX all summer, and all of our modeling was done in vehicle coordinate system, which is really nice. But when you model in vehicle coordinate system, sometimes by default, usually see the little gray dot that pops up in the center there, like where my cursor sort of is, like that little gray dot. That's the rotation center for your part. And so I think by default, usually it's like the global coordinate system origin, or it's sort of like wherever your mouse sort of, I think it assumes center of mass sometimes. But sometimes when we're doing funky things, we want to select a specific point for our rotation center to be. So if you do Control F2, Control F, frick. No, sorry, more. That's, I guess Control F4 is the tab button or the close button. Whoops. I will update. There's a button to change the rotation center. It's really helpful. I'll figure it out. At work, it was Control F2. Here it's not. But yeah. I guess freaking, sorry. Application, let's go modeling. Okay, last thing before I get the last questions, before we go. One bit of homework, I'm sorry, that I have for you guys is to get the wave geometry linker on your home ribbon tab. So you'll probably, I guess, it's somewhere in the menu here, and you can it's probably easiest to search it, and then from the search thing you can add it, but try and get the wave geometry linker on your home tab, because this guy right here is probably one of the most useful tools that NX has, and one of the most useful tools that you all will probably be using this year. So I guess for next week, I guess try and have that wave geometry linker on your home screen. And if not, at the start of the next session, I'll go through how to get that there. But yeah, that'd be my one thing, try and get the wave geometry linker on your home thing. So yeah. Any last questions before we wrap up? Sick. Yeah. Yeah, definitely play around with it. Was that too fast, too slow? Am I too boring? Was it useful? Yeah. So I'm guessing half of you will show up next week. Yeah. Sick. Okay. So yeah, we'll probably do same time, same place next week. And I'll try and figure out what we want to go over then. So yeah. See y'all next week. Yeah. And play with this on your own too. There's a lot of learning to be done outside of just me rambling here. So yeah. Thank you all for coming.